Dear boomers, I wanted to talk about the economy and how boomers will do very well under a Harris economy and not a Trump economy, and I will explain why in a minute. This morning, Anthony Scaramucci was being interviewed by Ben Masalis. I one time met Anthony Scaramucci on an Evan Carmichael Zoom. We were talking about YouTube channels, and I had the opportunity to ask Anthony, who was once a communication director under Donald Trump back in 2020, and I asked him what did he learn from being on the Trump administration. He said that he learned to listen to his wife, who hated Donald Trump as much as Melania does. Melania. I thought that was pretty funny. He said that he should have listened to his wife. It was pretty apparent right from the get-go that he was not going to get anywhere, that Trump wasn't going to listen to him, as he listens to nobody. And he almost got a divorce over the situation. So, he's a Republican, a lifelong Republican, and he thought that he would be served well. Maybe it would be good on the resume to work for former President Trump. However, not to be. This morning, The Economist endorsed Kamala and knew that these tariff ideas would ruin the economy. So he said, Scaramucci, the Mooch, says he supported Trump's candidacy in 2016. This is when he worked for him, not 2020, because he didn't win in 2020. Contrary to what Trump believes, he worked for him in 2016. He believed that Trump was an entrepreneur and he would usher in a new era of pragmatic post-partisan politics. Saying that he had failed to deliver on that promise is an understatement. Yes. He demonstrated incompetence in the face of a global pandemic, succumbed to his nativist instincts, and when he lost the 2020 election, he fomented an insurrection. So Anthony says he is supporting Kamala because he believes she is the candidate who can break us out of the cycle of ideology, governance, and that her common sense policies align most with economic growth and social inclusion, which is good for the boomers. It's good for all of us. We all have to be good together, work together. He said that the rally that Donald Trump hosted over the weekend at Madison Square Gardens was a dog whistle to Charles Lindbergh's 1939 pro-Americanism rally at the same venue. The 1939 event, which featured a portrait of George Washington hung between American flags and swastikas, was a fascist white supremacist rally cloaked in false patriotism. The rhetoric at each rally was shockingly similar, says Anthony. In 1939, speakers decried job-taking Jewish refugees and said it was very much American to protect the Aryan character of this nation. In 2024, Trump called America a garbage can, after previously saying that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country, which is what who Adolf Hitler said about the Jewish people. At his Madison Square Garden rally, he said that the United States was an occupied country. Another Trump rally speaker, comedian Tony Hitchcliffe, called Puerto Rico a pile of garbage floating in the ocean and said that Trump's black supporters will be carving watermelons for Halloween. I understand that Barron Trump was the one who suggested that Donald bring this guy in. And of course, Donald said he didn't know anything about this guy, even though it was his stupid rally. So if you're willing to underestimate or overlook the blatant racism and dire warnings for more than 40 former Trump officials, including his former Vice President Mike Pence and former Chief of Staff John Kelly, because you think Trump would be better for your wallet? No, 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 boomers. No, boomers. Think again. He's got a news for you. Anthony has news for you. Mass deportations and tariffs are destructive to the economy, and it would just be a disaster. Trump's agenda is economically regressive. It benefits the wealthiest Americans and hurts the working class while exploding the deficit. Trump's mass deportation plan would shave off 7.9% of the GDP, U.S. GDP, and his tariffs would trim another 1.3% off the economy, according to Bloomberg Economics. Analysis from the Wall Street Journal, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and 16 Nobel laureates have sounded similar warnings. The result of Trump's policies would be an economic depression, twice as steep as the 2008 financial crisis, not to mention immense human cruelty. And I'm sure people don't seem to understand that this cruelty, which Trump has exhibited numerous times, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for the economy, and it's not healthy for the people who live in this culture. We have been inundated by Trump's cruelty, and this is why so many of us have had it. We've had it. And I have explained many times about the regressive policies against women. Are we supposed to take Trump seriously, but not literally? On immigration, on CBS 60 Minutes last weekend, the former acting director of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement under Trump, that would be ICE, Tom Homan, made it clear that Trump is dead serious about enacting his mass deportation plan, even if it means forcibly rounding up entire families with children born in the U.S. Someone said to me yesterday, well, I am a U.S. citizen. I said, I don't think that matters to Donald Trump. This man is a brown-skinned, deeply wonderful man, and I don't think anybody can actually believe that they will be exempt from Trump's cruelty. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris's tax proposals would raise real incomes for Americans in the bottom 20% by 13.6%, while raising taxes marginally on the wealthiest Americans. Trump's plans would make the wealthiest 10% of Americans richer by more than 4% in annual income, while decreasing real incomes for those in the bottom 20%. The Trump campaign has asked voters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Humans have such short memories, says Anthony. But let's try to remember where Trump left us. He ignored pandemic response playbooks from the Obama administration and his own administration officials, like former Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert, leading to an unnecessary degree of death and economic hardship. Nearly $2 trillion of terribly untargeted COVID-19 stimulus under Trump laid the groundwork for the inflationary squall we experienced in the early years of the Biden-Harris administration. Now, while we must find additional ways to accelerate the reindustrialization of America, says Anthony, and more rapidly grow wages for the working class, the Biden-Harris economy and stock market are performing well, even in the face of historic interest rate increases. The S&P 500 is trading at an all-time high, gaining more than 50% since Biden was inaugurated. The U.S. economy has added more than 15 million jobs in that time, resulting in historic low unemployment, including adding 50% more manufacturing jobs than under Trump. Annualized real wage growth of 1.5% matches Trump's pre-COVID levels. Oil production is running at 1 million more barrels per day than under Trump, resulting in now falling gas prices. The prevailing narrative is in 2024 is that former President Trump is the better candidate for business. And as I have just explained, or I should say as Anthony has explained in his most recent publication in Forbes, the fact that Trump is still a factor in the race means voters are willing to overlook his myriad legal troubles and character flaws because, as James Carville has famously said, it's the economy, stupid. However, the reality is that Vice President Kamala Harris has a better economic record and plan focused on tax cuts for the middle class, credits for small businesses, and working class families. When voters feel like they've been left behind, they vote for change. And Kamala Harris is the change we need. And the change that Trump proposes is more murder, more slaughter, more poverty for us, more wealth for the oligarchs. There's going to be a video that shows up here. Love to all. Comment, of course, I know that some of you love Trump, but perhaps you should love yourself.